Yo voy a pasar el micrófono a Beatriz para que ella empiece. No sé si ya estamos en la hora.
Could you ask if everyone has that?
Mientras empezamos, ¿todo el mundo tiene su dado? ¿No? Sí, ¿podríamos repartir dados? Sí, es importante que cada persona tenga un dado. ¿Sí? Tenemos ya los dados, ¿verdad? Muy bien, pues vamos a empezar entonces. Bueno, en esta segunda charla de la BID de este año tenemos con nosotros el privilegio de contar con Brigitte Borja de Mozota. Ella es actualmente directora y fundadora de Designence, que es un laboratorio de gestión del diseño ubicado en Francia. Anteriormente fue directora de investigación en Paris College of Art, de la Parsons de París, catedrática de Ciencias Empresariales, Estrategia, Marketing e Innovación en la Universidad de París Oeste, donde dirigió tesis doctorales e investigó en gestión del diseño y liderazgo en diseño. Actualmente imparte clases de gestión del diseño en el Máster en Innovación y en el MBA en Diseño, así como en el programa online de Gestión Estratégica del Diseño de la Universidad SRH de Alemania. Ofrece mentoría a diseñadores en estrategias de diseño y consultoría en liderazgo del diseño, basado en su modelo científico de valor del diseño Designers, del que hoy aprenderemos y nos enriqueceremos. Es pionera en gestión del diseño y obtuvo su doctorado en Ciencias de la Gestión por la Universidad de París, por la Sorbona, en 1985. Es decir, celebramos su 40 aniversario de su doctorado y la habilitación para dirigir tesis doctorales en 2002 por la Universidad de Versalles-Saint-Quentin en Yvelines. Ha creado redes internacionales de investigación tan importantes como la Design Management Institute, el DMI, en 1988, la European Academy of Research, IAD, en 1993, o los ateliers de la Recherche en Design en 2006. Y también revistas de investigación como Design Journal, Sciences y Design, y organizó congresos internacionales de investigación en diseño, tanto para la EAD como el DMI. Es experta para organismos internacionales como la OAMI, el Premio Europeo a la Excelencia en la Gestión del Diseño y la Organización Mundial del Diseño, que conocemos como WDO. Su libro de referencia es Design Management, Gestión del Diseño, que lo tenemos aquí sobre la mesa, que se ha traducido a 10 idiomas. Su publicación más reciente es el libro Strategic Design for Sustainable Future, y en coautoría con Hervé Collignon y Steinar Balad-Amlat. Perdonad la pronunciación. En 2025 participó en la publicación colectiva Social Innovation by Design in Healthcare, con 2 volúmenes, tanto en francés como en inglés. Y como distinción final es miembro vitalicia del Design Management Institute de Boston. Total nada, tenemos muchísima suerte de tener con nosotros hoy a Brigitte. Brigitte, welcome with us. So, when you want.
Thank you, dear. Thank you, Beatrice. Thank you, all of you, for the invitation. Is this okay? Can you hear me? Okay. I'm going to sit down and read my notes to be sure that, because at my age, you know, we never know what would happen, and I have a few things that I want to share with you. I would like to thank Roberto, who invited me to this, and then I was pleased to discover that you had this wonderful network for so many years on people, you know, speaking Spanish and speaking in Portuguese. And I thought of myself, oh, I've been wondering about, you know, having a networks of researchers all over the world, and I've been really a person very keen on developing networks. And we still don't have a network on designing French-speaking countries, which is kind of strange. So when I come back, I'm going to urge people in France to do what you have done with this wonderful network. So today, it's my pleasure to make it very playful, I hope so, and also very international, intergenerational. And I really thank Pilar and her 48 students, okay, who really sent me wonderful questions. So the choice was there. Should I answer the 48 students or tell you to read my 63 books? I think the answer is easy, you know. So I'm going to try to answer the students. Now, students, I have sheets with individual answers for each of you, but I will choose a few for this talk. The idea, so I will first start with the questions concerning my purpose in life and my own relationship, which you would say my sentido, or, you know, purpose. Why was it that I came from microeconomics and suddenly I'm an expert in design? Design made sense to me as a person. You know, I was good at mathematics, but I thought mathematics, oh, it's not enough. And I'm not so good in mathematics, you know. Maybe I should go into economic science because it's a little bit broader. And I don't know yet what I want to do with it, but, you know, I will have more choice. And I started my first job and I was lucky enough to be in a company as a manager, as a buyer, in a company where a CEO was intelligent enough to have hired designers. So, students, that was my luck, and you have to think about that. My luck was I get a job because I was good in mathematics. But there was a CEO that had been recruiting designers that were already in-house in the company. So understand that if the guy had not recruited the designers, maybe I will never have met design. So can you make up your luck yourself to be sure that you have relationships with CEO that are nice enough to think that design can be trusted before trying, to convince also the importance of design to every single person on the planet. Maybe we should start with the person that are already given us, making the step towards design. So that was my story. I was very lucky, and I got into the connection with Natasha, that was just at the end of the corridor there, at the same level at SAPAC Printemps Présunique. She introduced me with another way to see the world. Okay, there is something else than mathematics. And suddenly it was then, okay, I see the world differently. And I see that I can, in my brain, something was missing in my brain. And now I feel as a person, as a whole. Because that was very strange to be in the school and to study only abstract model. Mathematics and economic science. It's very abstract. Then you go on holidays, then you live with objects, you live with the reality, and your job is just something else. So your job is about the brain, and then your life, your everyday life, is just with objects and people. And, so there was something of, why is it that we have these two things? And suddenly with design, I could, maybe do something between the abstract world I was coming from and the physical reality world that Natasha was suddenly introducing. And there was some coherence coming. So I needed a word. When I've been working with designers for about 10 years, and then went to academics, and I wanted to, because having the relationship with designers, as I explained many times, but I have to explain again, I became the best manager and the best buyer in Au Printemps. And then, what was different with me, Maybe I trusted Natasha a little more. Maybe I listened a little more to Natasha. And she was supposed to write trends book for me as a buyer. And, the trend was very organized. It was a narrative of the future. And that was so lovely because I was meeting people giving me stuff, that I could put in the store. But with the conversation with Natasha, I had an image of the future. And it was easy to bring the story and make it real before, really, the people see it in the store. So instead of having to run a department where every single thing was just like that, classified in silos, suddenly the world was coherent, and there was a story. And of course, sales were like that, profit were like that, just because I understood that. I understood the narrative. So students are asking me, what do I think 40 years ago? Well, I'm sorry, it's still the same narrative. And we are still having silos, and design is the thing that is making this silo in a coherent form. So when I went into academia, and I wanted to do a PhD on design, and nobody wanted me to do a PhD in design because I was so good in mathematics, you know. I said, by the way, I've been working with designers for 12 years. Why is it that I never heard about the word design during all my education? So I said to myself, maybe the purpose of my life is that, to try to understand why is it that design was not there, and to bring this space to some kind of reality, to some kind of narrative. So I needed a word, and in 1993, I registered the word Designance. And to me, that was the purpose of my life. What is going to be the space between macroeconomics and design science? But if it is Designance, it's also science, but it's also coherence, and it's also, excellence. We could use it in different way. But it gave me some kind of a purpose in my life. I had to build the brand, in a way, I had to build the narrative. And I had to give it with the scientific vision of somebody that comes from mathematics. I'm going to talk about our common good, and it's not Designance, it's design. I'm very worried. As you may know, I turned 80 a few months ago, and I'm very worried with the two tribes that are in our design community right now. I don't see, and I'm worried about that, I don't see the CX, UX design, web designers, and all the wonderful designers that are coming from digital technology, making a whole with, I would say, the old world, packaging design and retail design and all this product design, physical world. Because we are always, trying to put something else with design, then think of somebody that is the CEO or whatsoever managers or people just outside our design world. How can they understand what is design if we have, so many silos? It's cool to have communities, but I think we should care about our common good, which is the word design. And I'm going to explain why. And I think we should go back to William Morris and the fundamentals and the founders of the word design. And I don't see a difference with AI and what happened in the Industrial Revolution. Think of William Morris. He was an entrepreneur. He was a socialist. He has been doing also politics. And he was worried about the individual revolution, the industrial revolution, and how this revolution was going to put so much on people. And, acting on people and caring for people was something that was doing as an entrepreneur. So I know in the design community that you really like to hate capitalism. I'm sorry, there are a lot of good people also that are running companies, and entrepreneurs are designers. They are designing the form of the organizations. And if you want these forms to be more long-term oriented, and if you want this form to be more people-oriented, we are okay in the economics world to do that too. It is true that now we are really fighting against some kind of capitalism that is just about finance and short-term profit. But that has always been there. Maybe more now, but there has always been cooperative, for instance, or association. It's not that you have, only the private world you are working with. No, organization can be also in the public world. So there is the same diversity in economics that you could find in design. So our common good. I don't think things have changed, and I'm going back first to William Morris. He cared as an entrepreneur about people, and he cared about the beauty of craftsmanship, about the risk that industrial revolution was putting on products and the beauty on products. Do I think that things have changed? I think things haven't changed. It is still our responsibility to care about people and to care about beauty. And, maybe Dieter Rams' 10 good design principles or something. Now, yes, you have the first thing, the first diagram. The way it has not been so much, in a way, designed for this kind of, but let's try. If you look into that, it's the idea that when you say you are bringing value to the world, or when we say that we have an impact, if we only say with words, nobody will really trust us. The only way to be trusted is to give some evidence. So in 1985, when I was doing my PhD, I said, how am I going to find a way that is based on theory, get some scientific evidence of something that I've been through in my own life, professionally, of trusting Natasha to help me to be a better manager. What happened in terms of the brain between the conversation of Natasha and me? Could we find something that comes from the theories of what Natasha cared in being a good designer, and myself caring for being a good manager? So the way we did it in the PhD is I went into a design school that opened because Mitterrand was arriving in France, and they opened a new design school, and there was no age barrier. So you could, as an old lady, you could go back to the school. And I went to the design school, and I tried to find theories that define design. And then my job as a researcher was to find a correlation between theories in design and theories in organization science. So what says in the diagram is, if you take the theories of Gestalt theory, pragmatic theories, design process theory with Herbert Simon and Donald Schoen and Wilhelmine Visser, you have everything to make yourself understand and being trusted in the economic world. You don't need more, because that says the specific skills you bring to the world. And this is important to have your own space. Now, the way we are going to do it, I would like you to look at your hand, left or right hand. And we take a moment for that. Please, could we all look at one of our hand? Okay? You choose your one of it. Could you touch your hand with the other one? Can you feel the skin? Your hand is the outside world. It's the things that are changing, the force of change. And then you get the skin, which means that the skin is going to change because there are forces of changes. And we have many forces of changes now, okay? And now you put your dice in your hand. And your dice is the institution you are working with. Or maybe it's if you are students, it's your project. It's the way you think, where you want to go. It's your project. Or it may be your client. Now, can you feel how there is a connection with the outside, your skin, which, again, it's the outside world. But it also, the outside world is made of people that have skills. The environment is just humanity. Humanity wanting something different. You put this as your organization. Can you feel the surface of the dice? Can you see, can you play with that? Now, where is design? For me, everything started when I get the link between this, because this is in management science, what we call strategy. Strategy is the connection between the skin of the organization, the surface of the organization, and the outside world. And our job is there, in the connection. Design is relational economics. That's what we do. And that does not change, I'm sorry. That has been true 1 century ago, and it's still there. It is our job to make the coherence with that. Now, I don't have time to go into details, but please, could we not forget something that is so important when you are a designer, which is the Gestalt theory, where we understand that the sum, the whole, is more than the sum of the parts. These are parts of the organization. Who is going the whole? 2 would be human resource. 3 is everyday production and everything in all the technology side of the organization. 4 is the marketing guy, the sales guy. Finance would be the 5th, when you test. 1 is your vision, is where you want to go, is the touch between the skin and the surface. That's the mental image where you want to go. Now, this is wonderful. The reason I choose this idea I'm testing it with you already, is that, okay, you don't read my book, but please hold your dice. Because the one thing is important is the six. The six does not exist in organization science. There is no theory in organization science saying that an organization is made of things. But again, yeah, I think our world is made of things. Okay, I have to, okay. Now, if we go to the second slide, please. We are going to play again with the... I just want to explain that for me, talking about design is about being, skill-oriented and thinking of our skills as something that define our common good. What I want to explain, and I'm sorry I have to go, is that when you come into macroeconomics and you say sustainability, or you say you want to go into more inclusive society, or if you want to go into, for instance, less carbon-free society, in macroeconomics, nothing is going to change. The competition will still be the same. You will be in the automotive industry and you are going to compete with people in automotive industry and you are going to compete with someone that is doing it more sustainable or not, something like that. So this has not changed. It's not because the future change that the structure of macroeconomics is changing. But something happened which is called the digital world. And the digital world is a tsunami in our economics world. Because the people running companies in whatever sector now, they don't understand anything anymore. It's not sufficient to be very good at doing whatever the job you are doing in your sector, because suddenly your client can be your competitor. Because with the digital economy, easy, I can start my entrepreneurs, I can be an entrepreneur in two days. I can start and do my own company so easily now. And I can learn inside a company, and then the next day I am the competitor of the company. This is a tsunami. I call it the I economics. The power now are in the people. And companies are just, what is going on? They are all competing for our attention. The only thing, that our limited resource are the planet resource, but the first resource that is really is just time of our attention. So they are doing cars, and then they want to sell this, and then they want to sell, because they have your attention. So suddenly they can, send you. And the notion of running companies in your own sector is not sufficient anymore. You have to partner with people you never know before. So designers have, for us it's just common sense. Because design is also about linking technology with art, with, social science. It's in our DNA. But suddenly on macroeconomics, they have to learn that. So my point of view is that let us sell our specific skills, which you have on the screen. And you can see that the specific skills go very well with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the dice, because the specific skills are really showing you the steps of the strategic path of any company. So put like that, the double diamond and the strategic path. What are my skills that are useful at each step of the strategy path, and that are not the same skills. And the role will be different also at each step. And the value and impact I will have will be also different at each step. We are going to have a workshop. If you don't understand, we can go back, but that's the general picture of it. On the other hand, the companies now, I said, okay, I have to shine the way I manage my company. So I need to be hyper customer-centric. Okay, again, time is limited. Very more purpose-driven. They want more agile in terms of governance and more data-based in terms of decision-making. Now, please, what is different with what our friend Roberto was saying just 1 hour ago? There is not so much difference between best management and best design. We have the common goal in many ways, in the way we want things to go. But there are a lot of risks, and that's the responsibility of the designers. Because again, let's go back to William Morris. We care about people. We can do a lot of things with internet and the technology, and they can help people in many situations. But there can be also a risk that we are, pushing people into too much mass consumption or something. And we can know also that there is something that can be dangerous for the planet. I mean, we know all those things. We, in a way, are sentinels, in a way, that there are some kind of frontiers that should not be crossed if we want to protect people and be user-oriented. But when we say user-oriented, it's just about, caring for people. Now, the whole generation of playing with the cube, and as you can say, you can play with the cube because you can understand that you are going to enter the company with one side of the cube, and then your job as a designer is already making link with a few faces, but also it's going to be, I hope, some kind of dialogue artifact with the person that is in face. Say, okay, I'm going to do that, but there are a few things that are missing if you want to have the whole. So that's the value of design. Today, companies are looking for soft skills. They understand that they don't have the skills for next year or the future. And if you go into the skills of the designers, especially, critical thinking, creativity, communication, that's everything that has been in design school for so many years. But nobody knows your skills because we have been talking about the thing we do, not the skills. So we have a lot of maybe to work on that in terms of that people understand that we have specific skills and that these skills may be useful for everyone. Now the last one. I hope I have a few minutes for the last one. Where are we now? Okay. So Designance is really the thing that is helping the relationship and the communication you have with one single project and one company. Your hand and this as a negotiation tool. Okay? Negotiate with your price, negotiate, that's your negotiation tool. Now I had to invent another name, and I call it Designomics, because I'm concerned about our whole. So our whole is design, but could we have a name that says designs has an impact on the world? So my proposal today is, let's call it Designomics, meaning that if we take our collective responsibility to the world, take all the designers of the planet, all the countries and all the generation, and any kind of small project you do in design is really building the whole, okay? But how are we going to design the whole? Draw, to make it an image. So I use the theory of Donella Meadows on systems. And you see the way it works. You enter with a problem, somebody, and there is a person that has got a problem. Then you enter designer skills, designer attitude. And there is in the middle the cube. And the cube is the organization that is mediating the things you can do. Because organizations don't have the same maturity in understanding your skills. And, you know, there will be different briefs. And it is called the design ladder in our research. Companies can understand designer style and say that design is strategic because of style. Or companies can understand that design is more about innovation and design process. Or company can understand that design can help us in, invent the future and being, in the prospective attitude. And this is their choice in terms of strategy. And CEOs have been telling me that 20 years ago when I did the research. Don't ever forget that when you think over your impact, it is not you, it's them that appreciate something that you have and that they need. So what this table says, you go from the need of someone to the impact. In the middle, you have the company that is the mediating. I hope you like it. It's something also that can be transformed, and we are going to do it because I'm just fed up, in a way, that we are still, after 40 years, 60 books, and all these other researchers that have been working, for 40 years, that not anyone in the street understands what you do. I think we should do something about that. So I think we are going to put Designomics in some kind of platform when you can negotiate your price. But if you negotiate your price like that, people will understand. On the left, the need. On the right, your impact. And your impact can be, output, which is the realization, the artifact, but it's also the outcome, which is the measurement. And if you don't have a KPI, you have nothing. So we need to work on that. Think of something that is a system of needs and impact, and in the middle, the skills and the organization you are working with. Now, what do I have here again? And again, this is not me. This is Donella Meadows. And a system view of your of the job of any designers, but also of the collective view of all designers in the world. Okay, we have played with our common good. Let's finish with loving the common good. And I'm going back to you, students, and trying to answer a few of your questions, which I love so much. I mean, 48 wonderful questions. Okay. But I'm going to a few of them, because a few were very nice. What will my younger self think of my way of thinking now, 40 years later? I love it. Okay? I think she should say, you have done a job. I think also that maybe I'm less utopic, though I think I'm still very utopic. I think I will have congrats of doing the job, but I think congrats on I've never changed. I'm still true to the young Brigitte. Nothing has changed. Design made me a whole person. And I think I've been true to that. So, students, be true to your dreams and be true to your values. Because, yes, we need people that are, having this purpose-oriented way. Many questions about love and hate of capitalism and this kind of that will take one day to discuss on that, But I don't want to discuss on that. I don't want to go into politics. We have enough of that right now. But please, I want all your drawings. Please draw what you hate in capitalism. And could we discuss on your drawings? Because we could have a conversation with managers and, and ask them also to discuss on these drawings. Because I'm just fed up of, the designers being the goods and us in the business world being the bad people, I mean, please, let's stop this binary view of our world. I don't like that. We can combine, and that was some of the students' questions. Yes, you can combine your social-oriented view of the world, or you could say planet-oriented or whatsoever, with success. There is no problem with that. I don't have any problem with that too. I want to maybe conclude. Our world is a quantic world now. We should go, all of us, economics and also designers, and learn a little more about quantic physics. If you are looking for some kind of technology that can help us and make it together, it is quantic physics. Now, that's a wonderful world, quantic physics. In this world, they are dealing with how things are interconnected. So that's very close for me to what design is. And what is wonderful is that in the business world, we are looking also for quantic management. And what does that mean to be a quantic manager? It's a manager that understands, that has not all the information to make a decision. That you have to make a decision without really knowing everything. You have to slow down to feel. You have to trust before you understand. And you should not avoid tensions, different views of a certain problem. And you should listen to the unsaid. Well, I don't know what you think, but I think it's very close to what we do in design education. So, again, maybe that could be the conclusion, but I have something that was just an example that I've just discovered after the floods in Valencia. And as you may know, I was a speaker in Valencia maybe 2 years ago or something. And so, of course, and there was, I don't know if you have seen that, now what's his name? Michael Barros, artist, a ceramist, that has been doing all these tiles. And he started just, an idea with a few friends. So we have a sign of the floods and where the floods were. One person can change the world. I mean, there is this expression which is, sols el poble, salva el poble. If we care about people, this might be our motto. Last question for my students. If you would like to invite one of your designers, life heroes, as I said, my life heroes, you designers, to represent the evolution of design in the century, what would the form of that be? So if the students is in this room, I love to do that. Together, let's design the form of design and how it has changed because our hand has changed. Don't ever forget that when we change, it's also because the outside world has changed. And I don't know if you understand me, but there is something that is so important that we need you all really badly now. I mean, people need your optimism. People need your critical thinking. People are afraid of the future. There is a lot on your responsibility, all designers, to say to them, we are okay, we are going to be okay, we are going to experiment, we are going to find solution. Don't be afraid. That's why, being 80, I'm here to speak to you. You care about people. Well, please, let us show that to people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Brigitte. Very inspiring, really inspiring. Roberta. Yes, we are going to go. Vamos a comenzar entonces ahora con el workshop. Vamos a repartir una serie de, las mismas visuales que estabais viendo para todo lo que nos ha contado Brigitte. Vamos ahora a hacerlo de manera aplicada y nos va a ir llevando un poquito más por esta metodología del Designence.
Okay. I need one sheet. Yeah. What? Okay, thank you there.
Agradece a todos e a conferência no laboratório.
Bueno, como hay personas también online, cerramos así ahora la conferencia. Agradecemos tanto a las personas que estáis en presencial en Madrid como a las personas que nos habéis visto online. Agradecemos muchísimo a Brigitte que haya estado con nosotros. Esperamos que haya sido de vuestro interés. Gracias.